The Monica Makes It Happen podcast is proudly supported by Ponce Bank.
Hi, everybody. I'm Monica Morales, and you're watching the Monica Makes It Happen podcast, always powered, well, first of all, by you who's watching. Thank you for watching us for so many years, but also Ponce Bank. Thank you for supporting these stories. And I always like community champions. I like to talk to them. I like to find out how they started. Their stories are so riveting. But the person that's with me today really needs no introduction. If you know anything about philanthropy and specifically helping communities that matter the most, we have Monsignor Kevin Sullivan, the CEO, Catholic Charities, Emeritus. He has a new title, which between you and me, I've always thought you were my boss applesauce. That's what I would say, because you're really in charge of helping so many hundreds of thousands of people over the years. Catholic Charities is everywhere. It's a huge organization. But do we really know Monsignor Sullivan? I feel like I know you because of everything that you've done for our communities. But I want to talk about your story, what moves you to action for so many decades. And now the best is yet to come. Talk about how people can help this time of year because so many people are hurting. And then I do a speed round where I talk about, it's a surprise, greatest successes. We really want to give people hope this time of year. So first off, Monsignor, you are a Bronx boy. I did not know that. So tell me a little bit about your story and how you started.
I was born in the Bronx. I was born in a hospital in Parkchester, lived on Gun Hill Road for about 5 years. And then, as with a lot of people in the 50s, my family moved just a couple of miles away to Yonkers. And that's where I went to grammar school. But, interestingly, where we moved in Yonkers was kind of between what is now Empire City or the Yonkers Raceway and St. Joseph's Seminary. And, people always say, well, I said, I was between the Raceway and the seminary. I took the bigger gamble when I became a priest. Rather than going to bet on horses, I bet on people.
And God. You bet on God.
Yep.
And how old were you when the calling came?
Well, I'd like to say I was like St. Paul. I got knocked off a horse and God said, you got to be a priest. It just didn't happen that way. I mean, gradually, even in grammar school, I said, well, you got to earn a living, right? So when it got to be high school, I said, well, maybe being a priest could be something I do. So I went to the high school prep school in Manhattan, where everybody was thinking about it. You weren't signing on the dotted line. You were 14 years old, but you said, well, maybe that's something I could do. And then, when it got to the end of high school, I said, well, maybe I could do this. So I went to college out in Queens, where, again, everybody was kind of thinking now a little bit more seriously about that. And then after college, I actually went back to Yonkers because I went to St. Joseph's Seminary in Yonkers, just up the block from where I grew up. And so kind of gradually over time, you pray, you think, what could I do? Does God want me to do this? Could I do it? And so gradually over time, I said, okay, this is something that I think God won't be, I said it this way, God won't be too disappointed if I become a priest.
Well, that's an understatement for
Right.
the amount of social impact that you've had over the decades. So it's incredible to hear that story.
Yeah.
And I always am, how many years later? So how many years a priest? How many years with Catholic Charities? Give us the stats.
Okay, so I am, like right now, I'm old and decrepit. So, I mean.
Me too.
No. So I've been a priest for 49 years. And I couldn't get another job, so I had to stay being a priest. That's for
So
49
the
years.
big 50 is coming up.
Yeah,
is
next
there any
year.
plans
Next
for
year.
that? We got to have a big party. Mike is here.
Oh, I'm in favor of parties. I like parties.
Okay, big party. We're going to be planning already.
So for the first 7 years that I was a priest, which was magnificent, I was in a parish in Washington Heights. And it was an incredibly wonderful parish. At that point, it was primarily with people from the Dominican Republic, but there was a very heavy Jewish and even an Orthodox Jewish community that was there. There were some older residents who were Irish American, German Americans who were there. So it was a wonderful experience. And my experience there is how I wound up at Catholic Charities. Because when I got there, I'll tell you an interesting story. I was at a meeting with one of the local officials talking about getting summer jobs for kids. And as I was walking out of the Senator Leichter's office, I was walking down with this iconic woman who was the head of the Jewish Community Council. We got down to the street and she looked outside and I looked outside. I said, "These streets are dirty." And she said in a way which, whatever, she said, "You mean your people care about dirty streets?" I said, "Yeah, everybody cares about dirty streets."
Does.
She said, "Our people care about dirty streets." From that, we actually formed a Washington Heights coalition with the Jewish community, the Catholic community,
I love this
the
story.
Methodist community, the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. And we tried to do a little work to rehab the neighborhood, to do a lot of housing rehab. And, I think it was pretty successful to do that. So that's what I did. Like, that was from 1976 to 83. And so then when it's time for me to go someplace else, because I was doing some neighborhood work, community improvement work, when I talked with the Archdiocese, we talked about, well, maybe going to work for Catholic Charities. And so I went to work for Catholic Charities in 1983. And I'll tell you one other thing. My assignment to Catholic Charities was for 3 years. I never got another assignment. So as they would say, I'm in a holdover, or this is kind of this was a recess appointment because nobody ever bothered to give me another job. So I wound up staying at Catholic Charities.
So doing the Mass, how long at Catholic Charities?
42 years.
42 years.
Yep.
It's amazing. And the amount of impact that you've had, I mean, it's incredible. It's really incredible.
Monica, I appreciate that. But it's the impact that Catholic Charities has had. And I was privileged for the past 25 years or so to kind of be the CEO of that. I had other jobs prior to that, but it wasn't me. What I said to everybody, I had the really nice job of talking about all the good work that everybody else did. But it was thousands of other people who did the good work.
Yeah, I believe that, but I also see firsthand how your impact when we're out in the community, especially Thanksgivings, food distributions, people connect with you. And you are so part of Catholic Charities. And that's why I think they kept Emeritus. You got is that a promotion? I think it is. I don't know if you can get promoted from CEO.
Well, I don't know what it means, but so I'm part-time. I'm doing some stuff there. But there's a new CEO, Antonio Fernandez.
We're so excited about him.
Yeah, is doing a good job. Came from San Antonio, Texas.
Yes.
He's in Chicago. So we're delighted that he is now the CEO here.
Yeah. And, we're going to go to a commercial break. But when we come back, I want to talk the amount of people and power that you know the most powerful, you know the most vulnerable in our city. And somehow you're such a connector. I want to talk more about Catholic Charities and what people can do and these programs that they can support. And also a little bit more stories. You have so many great stories and hope. Our viewers need hope right now. So when we come back after this commercial break. Okay, we're back with Monsignor Kevin Sullivan, one of my favorite people in the entire world.
It's mutual.
Oh, well, it's just, I've seen you for so many years, even though I'm only 29 years old. And you have been with Catholic Charities for now 49, is it 49 years?
A little bit less, 49 years of priest, 42 years with Catholic Charities.
Okay, and you're only, 50? So it's amazing how this all happens. But tell me about Catholic Charities. How can people, right now, the need is greater than ever before. We hear that all the time. But you are in the communities, on the front lines. What are you seeing?
Well, I'm seeing that there's a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, tremendous amount of uncertainty. And I'll just focus on two specific areas that I'm seeing. Because of the price of food, so many people, they can't afford to continue to feed their families. And some of the policy changes in Washington make it even tougher. So our food programs are really struggling. And one of the things, again, that I did during COVID was we would do pop-up pantries. Yeah. So we didn't have them in every neighborhood, but we'd drive up a truck, we'd put up a tent, and we'd kind of feed 300-400 households in a particular morning. And one of the things that I always did, and I have to confess, I didn't hand out a lot of food, but I would walk the line because I wanted to know what the people who were needing the food, what they were about. And so I would have conversations with the people, and most of those people were just struggling. It was a grandmother who was trying to feed her grandchildren. There was a mom who didn't have a job. Yeah. So what I think is so important about Catholic Charities is that we don't treat people as cases or clients. They're our neighbors. They're an individual. And our Catholic faith says everybody's made in God's image and likeness. So we serve people, non-Catholic, Catholics alike. But you have to know the individuals who are there. And so I would always try to make a point to talk to them, to just get a little sense of what they were about. So food is really critical because the price is so high.
Yes,
But the other area which really, really is of concern to me these days is our newcomers, our immigrants. And
you've done such amazing work, but you've always done that.
Right.
You've always been a safe haven, a place of incredible resources for immigrants.
Yeah, I mean, Cardinal Dolan often uses the quote, which I think is true. He says, there were two ladies who welcomed immigrants to New York for centuries, Lady Liberty and Mother Church. And I think he's absolutely right. And we do that today too. Even, Monica, I sometimes get a little depressed by some of the rhetoric of people who, characterize immigrants as just bad people. That's not true. Are there some bad immigrants? Yeah. Are there some bad native New Yorkers? Without a doubt. Are there some lazy poor people? Yes. Are there some lazy rich people? Without a doubt.
That's right.
But the newcomers, and I say to anybody who kind of says, we don't need all these newcomers, I just say to them, okay, never order another home delivery takeout meal. Never deliver from DoorDash or any one of those. And you don't want immigrants, you're not getting your food.
That's right.
Because they are working industriously all the time to do it. Now, I do have to say, I wish they'd be a little bit more careful riding their bikes.
Oh, I know.
But they're industrious. They're working. Monica, I'll tell you, when we had that surge a few years ago, I would say hello to all of them because they were in front of our offices.
Yes.
And you know what? They had arrived through a jungle, through a desert. The first thing they asked me was, can you get me a job?
Yes.
So right now, the issue of people who have a hard time feeding themselves and the newcomers who are now so fearful and struggling, those are the two areas where I think as New Yorkers, we really have to step up and reach out to our neighbors to make sure that they feel welcome, that they feel like they're part of us and they can become a vibrant, contributing part to our New York society.
And that's what Catholic Charities does.
Right.
You're the connector.
Right.
You do everything. I love this new Monsignor Sullivan Emeritus. I love this because you have all the experience, but you're also unafraid to tell the truth and how it is. And I love that. And you're unafraid to fight for families who need it. And I think maybe I can learn a few things because we try to do that in our franchise and I try to clean streets and things, but you paved the way and you did this first and you made it happen for us all.
Well, we had a lot of people who did it. And my time at Catholic Charities, I always say it was pretty much framed by community-wide disasters. I got my job as executive CEO of Catholic Charities in the shadow of 9/11. Then I was in the middle of my time at Catholic Charities when Superstorm Sandy came. And now, kind of towards the end of my time as CEO, I was here during the COVID pandemic. And what I saw in those three situations, the incredible goodness and generosity of New Yorkers. But what I also saw is how vitally important Catholic Charities was in being able to respond quickly and to try to deal with the individual case. I'll tell you something which goes back to September 11th. You have to make rules. I understand that. And they set a boundary line, which I think maybe was Canal Street, that if you lived before Canal Street, you could get help. Well, we had a lot of workers who were at the World Trade Center that lived north of Canal Street. So we said, wait a minute, our donors don't have to abide by those boundaries. So the number of people we helped north of Canal Street, because we could. And that's what I like about Catholic Charities, the flexibility to respond. Superstorm Sandy. We have a bunch of hardworking day laborers in Yonkers, working day in, day out, lining up, hoping to get a job. Well, the flooding out in Staten Island was just horrendous.
Yeah.
The basements were so filled with mud. We hired 2 vans because the guys, the day laborers in Yonkers, they volunteered on weekends free
Oh my gosh.
to go out. All they needed was transportation.
Get
So we
out
brought a
here.
van out there and they mucked out.
See, it's
the
like
thing that was-
solutions like
yeah.
that. You're solution
And
based.
that's what I
no
like
red
about
tape.
Catholic Charities. We can think outside the box. We work with government, we partner with government,
Yeah.
but we also can be a little bit more flexible and nimble in responding to the needs that are there.
And there's something powerful about the Catholic heart, don't you think? The Catholic heart.
Yeah, I think when we do it right, because we're not perfect as Catholic Charities, we're far from perfect as Catholics, and we've made a lot of mistakes over the years. But when we get it right, there's no more potent force for the good than the Catholic Church and our Catholic institutions, because we believe every person is made in God's image and likeness. We will partner with everybody, even with people who we disagree with, if we can find a common ground
Yeah.
to help the common good, to increase the dignity of the human person. So I'm biased. I think we do a lot of good things.
This is such good stuff. And I can't wait. We're going to do a speed round when we come back after this break. More with Monsignor Kevin Sullivan, Emeritus. What is it? CEO Emeritus, Catholic
That's me.
Charities, when we come back. All right, we're back. And this is my favorite part of the show, Monsignor.
I hope
because
it will be my favorite
it's
part
gonna-
also.
It's like some surprises, but just to get
Okay.
to know you a little bit better. You've been front row center to some of the most historic events in our city, good and bad. What would you say is one of your favorite moments? Is there any moments that you can tell us about right now that you think, I can't believe I was there. Pinch me. I can't believe I was there.
I would say the time after September 11th. That was absolutely an incredible time when I saw the people just marching up First Avenue where I was. I thought that was incredible. There were so many of that moment.
Yes.
There were so many things. I also saw the generosity of the private corporate
Yes.
sector. I saw the reaching out to families and individuals. I also was privileged a week afterwards to go with a number of other nonprofit leaders to the White House when people were encouraged to be generous and to respond there, and saw, despite different ideologies, different political philosophies, that the nonprofit sector, the government sector, could come together to respond to the needs that were there. So that was a really incredibly both moving and very, very impactful time.
Oh, beautiful. And talking about dealing with tough people, we call them sometimes evil people, but all of us have to do it. Give us some suggestions, like from a spiritual standpoint and from just what works, like what type of suggestions can. And I love this story you gave us. That's why I'm trying to because I love the story you gave me about the weeds.
Sure.
And the weed.
I'll give you two scripture things, okay, that you can take with you.
Yeah.
One is a little bit of a warning that we were given in the scriptures. Take the plank out of your own eye before you can take the splinter out of your neighbor's eye. Okay? So whenever we come across somebody who is less than positive, okay,
Yes,
we'll just
yes,
say that.
yes.
Well, do a little self-reflection about, I always reflect on my weaknesses, what I've done bad, and then try to interact with the person who is there. I doubt there is
So hard.
it is. And as I say, okay, everybody is made in God's image and likeness, but there are some people who are so humble about it that they hide it. It's hard to see
I'm
God's
so glad
image
you
and
said
likeness.
that, and I didn't. Yeah.
And the story of the weeds and the wheat in God, where
I love
you
this
get some of the self-righteous who say, well, let's root out all the weeds. Well, let me tell you, if God's going to root out all of the weeds, he's getting rid of a lot of me, because I got a lot of stuff inside of me. Now, this is not to be naive. There is evil in the world. There are people who engage in evil actions, and we have to recognize them.
Mhm.
But that doesn't mean we can't figure out how, with almost everybody, we can establish some common ground to advance the good that we need to advance as a society.
I love that. You give me so much hope. I always like to end with hope. But if someone says something, Monsignor Kevin Sullivan, and has a sentence after that, what do you want people to remember about the work, the incredible work that you're doing? Still doing at Catholic Charities, still doing 40 some years later.
That I was blessed to have the most talented, intelligent partners in the work that I did, whether it be staff, whether it be donors, whether it be elected officials, whether it be business leaders. I was blessed to be part of that partnership of a caring, compassionate New York, and that I was able to add my little bit to that was what was just such a blessing for these past 40 some odd years.
A little bit, big bit. I mean, big impact. Hope. Let's say if someone's watching and is struggling right now, maybe can't pay the rent, maybe can't buy groceries for their children, and they're in a bad place. What kind of, and dare I say prayer, what kind of prayer do you want to give to the people watching?
Well, I'd say two things. First of all, complain to God. God can take it. If you're not happy with your life, tell God. Turn to God and say, God, help me. I'm frustrated. I don't know what to do. Turn to God, not only with your hopes. You don't have to always praise God. You can just say, God, hey, I need your help. But you got to do something for yourself. So if you got a problem, look for help and get help. And best place to turn, at least initially, go to the Catholic Charities website and call and ask for help. And if you don't get it, call again, because sometimes the phone call doesn't get answered. But don't give up. Agency. Individuals have to take responsibility for their own lives, have to do things, and then turn to God and ask for God's help in moving forward.
I love that. So it's CatholicCharities.org and
Yep.
Insta. I follow you on Instagram.
Okay.
I love Instagram, YouTube, everything else. And you have a show. You have your own show.
I do. Just Love. It's on Sirius XM. You can listen usually on Saturday mornings at 10 o'clock, which I say is kind of grocery and errand time.
Yes.
So if you're in the car going to Home Depot
That's what
or
I'm doing.
something like that, tune in. The Catholic channel is Sirius XM 129.
I'm listening. And Monsignor, can I just say you need a podcast? And I said it here. So hopefully I'm your agent. I get 0%. Okay. I just think you would be so great to have your own podcast because of the people that you know, the people that you've helped. Everyday New Yorkers, we thank you for your service.
Well, thank you. And thank you for what you do. And again, let me just say one thing. I mean, the media comes under a lot of attack. We need very, very reputable, solid people because we need to get good information. And so I just encourage you to continue in your job and to do the right thing.
Okay, I will. And I'll continue. And thank you, Monsignor, for everything you've done. But you're going to see more from Monsignor. This is not the end. Pix 11 News, we're also doing a series of profiles on the Monsignor. And also, we're going to continue to cover his next chapter, which is going to be The Best Is Yet to Come, of course. And if you need our help, you know what to do. Reach out to us at Monica Morales TV on all of our social media platforms. Let's keep making it happen together. See you next time.